Alrighty, as I'm currently in the land of the free and the home of the brave, I figure I cook up some interesting topics in my absence from twitch.tv/MrPokke. So right now, as I'm in the present and the future is my present, so I'm living in the past in my present, we are going to be talking about a couple of interesting, and today we are opening up with the most overhyped unit in Honkai Star Rail, sort of like a sequel to the most underrated unit in Honkai Star. So without further ado, let's get into today's content. Subscribe! Alright, the most overhyped unit in Honkai Star Rail is this bitch right here. She stole all my money and it achieves nothing for me. Oh my, I just realized this is like a very yandere looking thing. Yeah, Firefly just stole all my money. Therefore, she truly is the worst unit of all time. So it is what I look at that smile. It is what it is. Alright, okay, genuinely, okay, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. First of all, as usual, this is a purely subjective take. Feel free to leave down in the comments below because I just, wanna yep about some things that could bring about interesting discussions to the topic. In my opinion, the most overhyped unit as of this current version 2.5 going to 2.6 and maybe even 3.x. We'll first let the keyboard warriors type their hate comments. We'll let it cook a little bit. Drop the dislikes and all that. Alright, cool. She'll hack your account. There it is. Okay, so now that we've that out of the way, let's discuss. First of all, it was not easy coming into this conclusion because there can only be one most overhyped unit. I was considering between Silver Wolf, Sparkle, Firefly. Genuinely, right? Me and my chat, we were considering Firefly, as well as where is the other butter bitch? Akron. Between these units, they're talking about the most overhyped units. I think the results sort of speak for themselves, right? Previously, we have all of the CN usage rate, MOC usage rate, clear cycles, every cycles. I think there is a reason why Akron and Firefly, they have one of, if not the highest usage rate, while still performing relatively okay. Technically, you're still getting 3 stars, right? You're still getting 3 stars. So you know what? I think they're fine where they stand. Even at easier. But Silver Wolf is gonna be a pretty interesting choice here. And I'll kind of briefly run down the rationale of why I myself think Silver Wolf is gonna be the most overhyped unit. So fast forward to today. Objectively, for the past 4 DPS that we have, 4 of the DPSs that we have gotten in version 2, Akron, Boothill, Firefly, and Facial, every single one of them has their own way of ignoring the enemy weakness, specifically the toughness bar, either through a weakness implant or straight up ignoring the toughness bar and still dealing damage. And one of Silver Wolf's selling point was the elemental weakness implant. So I am a little bit concerned if more and more DPS in the future doesn't rely on having a Silver Wolf slot to implant weakness. The value of her hit, it does go down by a little bit, and by a little bit I mean by quite a little bit. Some might bring up the argument, MrPokke, she not only implants the weakness, she also has the damage res reduction to that specific weakness. So this is honestly really, really good. So it's not just weakness implant, it is a damage res debuff as well. Because for example, like Firefly, right? Firefly, she can implant fire. She can implant fire. Where the hell is the damn thing? Okay, it's right here. Yeah, so Firefly applies fire weakness to a single target, but she does not have a 20% fire res down, which means the enemy will have this fire weakness to allow Firefly to deal toughness bar damage, but they are still resistant to fire. So in that sense, the damage might not be as high as compared to if you were to implant a weakness from Silver Wolf. But that being said, would you ever run Silver Wolf with Firefly just for the 20% res down? Probably not. I'm gonna go on a conservative side and just say probably not. Alright, you're probably sticking with your Rame and Harmony Trailblazer, and then you slap on a sustain. You're probably not going to be exclusively running Silver Wolf just for the 20% res now. Same thing can be said for Fei Xiao. Alright, Fei Xiao, her ultimate, it does ignore weakness typing, but it doesn't have the res pen. You're probably not running Silver Wolf Fei Xiao. Right, optimally speaking, it's probably still gonna be. And this ultimately boils back down to opportunity cost in Honkai Star Rail. If one of the unit's most important purpose is starting to get overshadowed by either new enemies or new DPS units that we are getting in our roster, it starts to feel that one of the core components of a kit is not getting utilized. So that basically leaves us back down with the ultimate, which honestly is pretty good. 45% defense reduction for a single ultimate is pretty good. It honestly is. It is the highest single target defense down from any unit. Couple that up with the talent, we also do have a 8% defense down. So this is effectively technically 53%. And if you throw on a resolution, that's 69% defense down from Silver Wolf, if you add the talent and the ultimate. So by herself, she technically can apply a pretty whoppingly disgusting amount of defense down. But it always comes back into opportunity cost. It always comes back into opportunity. What will you sacrifice in order to come back and use Silver Wolf? Would you sacrifice Robin and her triple 100% action value advance and the additional damage in the attack buff and all that for this potentially 69% defense now? Would you sacrifice Run Mei with weakness, break efficiency, break effect, rest pen, damage percentage? Yeah, would you sacrifice Run Mei in exchange for Silver Wolf 69% defense now? It becomes sort of like a point where, because we only have 4 units in one team, this slot is getting very, very competitive. I think the entire weakness implanting, which is why, oh my god, Silver is so good for beginners. She's gonna change your beginner count forever. You don't even need to build 20 different elements. Maybe this argument worked back in version 1. I don't think it works anymore in version 2. Which is why I believe, as of this moment, if we still want to kind of, update, maybe just try to update a little bit, I probably wouldn't recommend new players to pull specifically Silver Wolf just for the sake of elemental typing. Probably gonna have a better experience pulling for the Robin, getting a tip tier DPS output, which, in my opinion, would probably go a long mile rather than using Silver Wolf to implant weakness for your Wind Dunheng. You get what I'm saying? So it is always bound back to your opportunity cost. What are you spending your strategies on in absolute terms of how far you're going in the endgame content? So in that sense alone, I think Silver Wolf as a baseline kit at E0, S0, probably not that worth it. Now, with that being said, I do want to bring up a little bit about her Eidolons. Silver Wolf, Eidolon, and Light Cone. Now, this is honestly quite impactful. I believe most, if not all, of our discussion so far, it will always be revolving around E0. But Silver Wolf specifically, first of all, this Light Cone. Okay, let's talk about the Light Cone first. This Light Cone. Oh my god. I genuinely swear, 90% of the time in my life, I am either using resolution for the defense now or tutorial for the additional energy. I can think of very little scenarios I would run this. The only exception is if I'm feeling like a little bit of a degenerate. I want to build a full DPS here with 4-piece quantum. Boom, I slap on incessant rate for a little bit of the additional crit rate EHR as well as the Aether bug. Right? Silver Wolf's Light Cone, it's almost like a package deal. It's like, unless you build a DPS Silver Wolf, very little people will actually find this Light Cone as a direct upgrade to the 4-star options, which is kind of crazy. A Light Cone that is more or less only like quote-unquote usable when you're above E2. Because E2 is when you shave off half your hit rate requirements, and then you can build in your crit and crit damage. Right, so Silver Wolf's Light Cone also, I think, okay, if we're talking about this, it's genuinely one of the worst Light Cones that money could buy. So that's me personally. That being said, this Eidolon one, it is diabolically good. After using ultimate, regenerate 7 energy for every single debuff that a targeted enemy has. Trigger up to 5 times in each use of her ultimate. Without this Eidolon one, and if you do not have the tutorial Light Cone, Silver Wolf will quite literally out every 4 turns. Unless you're perma spamming her skill, which shouldn't be the case. Silver Wolf shouldn't be perma spamming your skill. You're probably in your skill once, and afterwards you're gonna be spamming your basic attacks. It is what it is, right? This Eidolon does drastically improve Silver's ultimate uptime. And for players that don't have access to the tutorial light cone, are you okay with getting a defense down once every 4 turns on a single target? So yeah, that's also why I believe another not too integral, but I would say a huge comfort for Silver Wolf is kind of locked behind this Eidolon 1. Eidolon 2, frankly speaking, is really just for itself. I guess you could kind of use this with like DOT, because you use a effect rest, but that's a little bit delulu. But it basically makes it show that you only need 45 VHR, so they can build in crit damage, and it kind of paves the way for your E4 and E6 to build DPS Silver Wolf. And you can see some crazy shit like 200k, 250k ultimates. Kind of diabolical. But yeah, Iango, I'ma keep it a buck. As of this day and age, I think it's time to look forward. It is generally time to look forward. Nothing against Silver Wolf, but it's just that with the way how the new units are getting introduced, the new mechanics, enemies moving. Oh wait, great point. Almost forgot. Enemies are moving diabolically fast. Hule has like 500 speed or some shit like that. If a debuffer is too slow, your debuffs literally could not stack on fast enough on the enemy, which is gonna be a little bit scary. Alright, it's gonna be a little bit scary. So that's also another factor to consider. I would say Silver Wolf, the experience for a beginner in Honkai Starbucks and the whole concept of weakness implant is gonna make your beginner experience feel a lot smoother. As of this day and age, I just think it doesn't hold true anymore. So to kind of just wrap up everything once more, getting a Silver Wolf for your wing Danheng is usually gonna be less comfy compared to getting like straight up just one of the best supports in the game, such as Robin, Rame, or even Sparkle, right? Or getting on just straight up a tier 0 DPS. I think that would make a newcomer's experience feel a lot better, because Witness Implant is not a mechanic that is that widely desired anymore. So yeah, that is gonna wrap up, in my opinion, the most overhyped unit in Honkai Starbucks. Yeah, so that's pretty much my thoughts. Word of the day is gonna be hacked. Join Twitch, you join YouTube, you join Discord. All the best. We're Gachapoos, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.